Well, the time now is 11 p.m. and here are the headlines for tonight. Deputy Prime Minister FADILLAH to focus on fostering closer ties. Nanta focus on completing Pen-Borneo Highway. And GPS is committed to its Sarawak First policy. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. I'm Shira Abang Mansoor and this is TVS Nightline. The price cap for Russian oil set by the Group of Seven, or G7, has come into effect today, December 5th, to limit Moscow's ability in financing its war with Ukraine. This policy will allow Russia to export their crude using tankers owned by G7 and the European Union (EU) if the cargo is bought at or below the price cap. Russia, however, refuses to abide by the policy even if it has to cut production.
Если ограничить цену нефти из России или других стран, установить какие-то искусственные ценовые потолки, то это неизбежно ухудшит инвестиционный климат во всей мировой энергетике. Затем спровоцирует усиление глобального дефицита энергоресурсов и дальнейший рост их стоимости. А это, повторяю, ударит в первую очередь по беднейшим государствам.
Russia's gas exports to Europe has been one of its main revenue of foreign currency since oil and gas was found in the swamps of Siberia after World War II. With a price cap set at $60 per barrel, a difference of $7 with closed Friday last week, EU and G7 countries expect Russia will still have an incentive to continue selling oil at a cap price, choosing to accept smaller profits. The policy will be reviewed every 2 months, the first to be conducted in mid-January of 2023.
Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has set a 1-month window to tackle pending issues pertaining to the Malaysian Agreement 1963 MA63. This goes hand in hand with Datuk Seri Fadillah Yusoff's appointment as Deputy Prime Minister, who will act as a catalyst in resolving the issues. Anwar said he doesn't want problems involving MA63 to continue any longer.
Kebanyakan telah dapat diselesaikan, tetapi ada yang menimbulkan keresahan dan di rakan-rakan kita di Sarawak dan Sabah, itu patut disegerakan.
Anwar added, the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, has told him previously that several policies complicate the state government in addressing issues regarding MA63. One of it involves bureaucracy with various government departments and ministries.
Dan sekiranya perlu itu dipantau dan dikemukakan cadangan supaya penyelarasan di antara persekutuan dan negeri itu dapat dilakukan.
Anwar spoke during a press conference after chairing the first cabinet meeting in Perdana Putra Putrajaya on Monday.
Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadillah Yusoff's focus will be on implementing various initiatives to foster closer relations between Sarawak, Sabah and the Peninsula. Fadillah, who is also Plantation and Commodities Minister, said the initiative to bridge the facilities and development gap in Sarawak and Sabah was also his main concern after he was entrusted with the role of Deputy Prime Minister representing Sabah and Sarawak region. According to him, this was one of the directives Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim had issued to him during the Unity Government Special Cabinet meeting held earlier today, the first cabinet meeting for the federal ministers after they took their oath of office on December 3rd.
Bila kita kata merapatkan jurang, pertama sekali bukan saja dari segi pembangunannya, fizikalnya, amenitiesnya, dari segi kemudahan-kemudahan lain, sekolah, hospital dan sebagainya yang agak ketinggalan Sabah dan Sarawak khususnya, bagaimana kita nak fokuskan. Dan itu juga tadi diamanatkan oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri untuk saya fokuskan bagaimana kita dapat percepatkan segala penyelesaian pada masalah ini.
He said this to the reporters after clocking in at Deputy Prime Minister's office in Perdana Putra at 12:04 p.m. after attending the Unity Government Special Cabinet meeting chaired by Anwar. In today's meeting, Fadillah informed that Anwar made clear the directions that needed to be taken by the ministers in the administration of the unity government, especially when it comes to the living cost of the people. The Petrajaya Member of Parliament is one of the two Deputy Prime Ministers appointed by Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim alongside the Barisan Nasional Chairman Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi in the Unity Government Cabinet last Friday. Works Minister Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalinggi will focus on the completion of the Pan-Borneo Highway to ensure continued development of rural facilities in Sabah and Sarawak. Nanta said this is among his priorities after helming the Works Ministry, besides ensuring problematic projects nationwide are resolved as soon as possible.
Nanta said he will be briefed by ministry officials and said he hoped to generally understand the ministry's core business. He added that in 2 to 3 weeks, he will obtain further details to deal with problems faced. He said this after clocking in at the Works Ministry headquarters today to officially begin his duties. Now, on the Pan-Borneo Highway project, the first phase was supposed to have been completed in 2016. However, in Sabah, the project is only 60% ready, while in Sarawak, over 85%. Now, earlier, during a handover of duty ceremony, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadillah Yusof, who is the former Works Minister, was confident his successor will be able to ensure that all infrastructure projects in Sabah and Sarawak are run smoothly. Fadillah, who is also Plantation and Commodities Minister, expressed his gratitude to the staff of the Works Ministry, whom he said had been committed and dedicated employees during his tenure.
Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Amar Douglas Uga Ambas, looks forward to working closely with the newly appointed Deputy Prime Minister, Dato' Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, and Works Minister Dato' Seri Alexander Nantalinggi in developing more rural roads in the state. Uga said that he hopes to discuss with the newly appointed Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Rural and Regional Development to allocate more funds for Sarawak. Uga, who is also the State Minister of Infrastructure and Ports Development, said that Sarawak still needs a lot more roads in order to catch up with the rest of the country. Uga said that based on study, Sarawak still needs to build at least 2,000 kilometers of new roads by 2030 to ensure all inaccessible interior longhouses and villages will be connected with the rest. Uga also hopes to brief Zahid Hamidi on the various issues faced by Sarawak in implementing rural projects. Additionally, Uga also expressed his eagerness in working with the newly appointed Works Minister, Dato' Seri Alexander Nantalinggi, noting that he is very thankful that the important position is once again helmed by a Sarawakian. Uga said high on his wish list was for the Sarawak Public Department to be accorded the status of a technical department, as well as the issue of maintenance of federal roads in the state. Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Jari Tonopeng, received a courtesy call from the Natural Resources Environment Board, NREB, at his office in Wisma Bapa, Malaysia on Monday. The delegation was led by the Controller of Environmental Quality Sarawak, Peggy Ronin Edin. Among others, the meeting was to brief the Premier on the 10th Premier Sarawak Environmental Awards, PSEA, which will be held on 14th of December.
Okay, the PSEA is the recognition by the state government to all the industries, government sectors, for the local authorities, individual as well as NGOs, where government want to recognize their environmental effort, their green initiatives. So we encourage them. We have done this for the last 21 years. We started in 2001. So this is the 10th Premier Sarawak Environmental Award, right? So we know that everyone is talking about environment now, climate change. So this is a good venue for them to show to the people that they do practice green initiatives. They care about the environment, the mental protection.
Themed Redefining Sustainability in Environmental Stewardship aims to ensure sustainable economic activities through the adoption of new technologies and innovation, as well as the continuation of environmentally sound practices. There are 5 main award categories, including industries, local authorities, government sectors, open eateries and food outlets. First introduced in 2001, the Premier of Sarawak Environmental Award is one of the incentives introduced by the Sarawak government that aims to recognize the environmental effort of all levels of society in the state that have shown outstanding environmental stewardship and advocate sustainable green initiatives in their day-to-day operations and processes. More than 26 local and international artists convened in Kuching for the inaugural Sarawak International Art Camp 2022 SIAC 2022 held from 5th to 9th of December. Organised by Sarawak Artists Society SAS and supported by the State Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, the art camp will see the artists taking residence at Anah Rais Longhouse from 6th to 8th of December to get inspiration from the local community and culture for their artwork.
Its Deputy Minister, Dato' Snodan Lawan, said the event aims to provide an opportunity for both international and Sarawakan artists to engage, network and encourage artistic exchanges to spark the momentum of the creative industry impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Our ministry, which is Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, has always encouraged and supported events of such scale and with international liaison. They indirectly stimulate the socio-economic industries and communities in Sarawak.
He said this at the welcoming dinner with the participants on Monday. The participants include artists from Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Brunei, Indonesia, Singapore, Germany, as well as Malaysia. Snodan added Sarawak has much to present to the world through its rich cultures and traditions, which are depicted in its arts and handicrafts. Meanwhile, its president David Chiu hopes that this event can prove that artists and their creations can play a part in promoting Sarawak, its culture, and contribute to the tourism industry. The creations will be on display at the annual art show from 9 December 2022 until 8 January 2023 at La Promenade Mall in Kuching.
An elderly woman suffered burns when escaping from a fire which engulfed her residence at Kampung Paloh Lot, Tanjung Manis earlier today. 6 total household members were made homeless in the incident. The Tanjung Manis Fire and Rescue Department station received a call at 6:55 earlier this morning regarding a fire at a one-story residential house.
Sejurus menerima panggilan kecemasan dari pegawai daerah Tanjung Manis pada jam 6.55 pagi. Pihak kami dengan kekuatan 7 anggota bomba terus bergegas ke lokasi terletak kira-kira 2 jam perjalanan menaiki bot. Kami dimaklumkan bahawa pasukan bomba komuniti Kampung Paloh yang terdiri daripada 10 orang anggota telah tiba di lokasi kejadian pada jam 5.20 pagi. Mereka juga dibantu oleh 20 orang penduduk kampung telah bertindak menjalankan operasi pemadaman dan berjaya mengawal kebakaran itu.
According to him, with the help of 20 villagers, the Kampung Paloh community firefighters set to put out the fire at 6:40 a.m. with hoses and buckets of water from taps and nearby drain. Despite their efforts, the house unfortunately was completely razed to the ground. Luckily, he said, all 6 occupants of the house managed to save themselves. However, a 63-year-old woman suffered burns to her hands and the back of her head.
Pasukan kami, Bola Bomba dan Penyelamat Tanjung Manis tiba di tempat kejadian pada jam 9.59 pagi. Seterusnya mengambil alih operasi pemadaman dan bertindak memantau keadaan mendapati api telah dipadamkan sepenuhnya oleh bomba komuniti. Pihak kami yang mengambil maklumat dan menjalankan Pusat Preventif Pencak Insiden PSPI di tempat kejadian. Kesemua 6 penghuni tersebut berjaya menyelamatkan diri, namun seorang perempuan warga emas mengalami kecederaan pada tangan dan belakang kepala.
According to Wan Umar, the victims consisted of a family of a husband and wife aged 72 and 63 years old, 2 adult females aged 56 and 29 years old, and 2 children, a boy and a girl under the age of 12. No casualties were reported, while the cause of the fire as well as the estimated losses are still under investigation. The firefighting operation ended at 11:20 a.m. Coming up right after the break, Anwar announces 20% cut in minister's salary and Semeru volcano eruption victims demands relocation. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back on Nightline. All cabinet ministers' monthly salary will be reduced by 20% effective immediately. According to Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim, the matter was amicably agreed by all members of the cabinet to address issues pertaining to the country's economy and the people's well-being. This, however, is subjected to change once economic stability is achieved.
Kalau ekonomi pulih 3 tahun kita review lah. Gaji motong ni memang tidak wajar, ya. Tetapi saya terima kasih kerana kesediaan mereka melakukan sedikit pengorbanan. Ada orang kata Anwar patutlah dia tak ambil gaji Perdana Menteri kerana dia ambil gaji Menteri Kewangan. Tak betul, gaji ni satu saja.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim said his administration will review a plan for a state-owned 5G network introduced by the previous government on the basis that it was not formulated transparently. Under the premiership of Muhyiddin Yassin in 2021, the country unveiled a plan for a state-owned agency to own all 5G spectrum. Various carriers were expected to use the infrastructure to provide mobile services. The single ownership of spectrum raised concerns from the country's major carriers over pricing, transparency and monopoly. At a news conference following his first cabinet meeting, Anwar said the 5G plans will be evaluated to ensure they strictly followed procedures.
I've instructed that this be reviewed because it was not done in a transparent manner. There was no proper tender process, and Therefore, we need to review to make sure that we follow a strict financial procedure to ensure that things are done properly. Similarly,
Muhyiddin's government has defended the 5G plan, saying it will reduce costs, improve efficiency, and accelerate infrastructure development. Anwar added the unity government will also revise and improve the 2023 budget tabled in October. The budget was presented in Parliament by the previous government but was not passed due to the general election. Anwar also said that his government will not roll back certain decisions made by the previous administration, but he did not identify them. The main principles of Malaysia's foreign policy will continue to be maintained. According to the new Foreign Minister, Datuk Seri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir, it includes the policy of neutrality as well as cooperation with other countries. At the start of his official duties at Wisma Putra today, he said other aspects related to foreign policy, however, require an in-depth clarification and inspection from Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Elaborating, Zamri said several aspects requiring a review, such as relations with certain countries, will be a priority. He gave an example in relations with ASEAN, one of the foreign policies that is crucial to be given priority, as well as relations with major powers, West Asia, and so on. He said this at a press conference after a gathering with Wisma Putra staff members in Putrajaya earlier today. When asked about issues close to Malaysia, such as Palestine and Myanmar, he said the matter will firstly need to be discussed before he could make any statement about it. Zamri was one of the 25 new cabinet ministers who took the oath of office in front of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah at Istana Negara on Saturday. The Employees Provident Fund, EPF, recorded a total gross investment income of 39.31 billion ringgit for the 9 months ending September 30th, 2022. The figure is a decrease of 18% of 8.71 billion ringgit from the 48.02 billion ringgit recorded in the same period last year. Similarly, total gross investment income for the third quarter of 2022 recorded a dip of 1.65 billion ringgit of 12% from 13.97 billion ringgit in the third quarter of 2021 to 12.32 billion ringgit this year. However, the number was 11% higher compared to the 11.14 billion ringgit recorded in the second quarter of the year. Chief Executive Officer Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan attributed third quarter of 2022's better performance to the stabilised market conditions for both equity and fixed income investments. In the third quarter of 2022, equities accounted for 45% of EPF's total gross investment income at 5.49 billion ringgit, while fixed income instruments contributed 39% or 4.77 billion ringgit. Real estate and infrastructure registered an income of 1.67 billion ringgit, while income from money market instruments stood at 390 million ringgit. EPF's overseas investments, which make up 36% of its total investment assets, continue to be a major contributor to its income at 5.28 billion ringgit, or 43% of its total gross investment income. Meanwhile, as of September 2022, the EPF's assets under management stood at 961.01 billion ringgit. Despite the numerous macroeconomic challenges, the EPF's asset growth remained healthy as contributions received for 9 months of 2022 amounted to 63.61 billion ringgit. Thank you for staying with us. The eruption of Mount Semeru, located in the East Java province of Indonesia, has prompted authorities to set their volcano alert to the highest level. According to Japan's meteorology agency, the smoke reached a height of 15 kilometers while monitoring a possible occurrence of tsunamis. Immediate evacuations were carried out for the people living nearby. Though no casualties have been reported, over 2,500 people are now left with no place to call home. Authorities also warned not to conduct any activities within 8 kilometers of the eruption grounds, imposing it as a no-go zone. The volcano, which erupted at 2:46 p.m. local time on Sunday, follows a series of earthquakes in the west of Java, including one last month that killed more than 300 people. Last year, Semeru's eruption has killed 50 people. Now, thousands of Indonesians who were displaced following the eruption of Mount Semeru have sought refuge in temporary shelters, salvaging what's left after ashes blanketed the area. Some have already applied to be relocated by the government as soon as possible.
Ya minta rumah secepatnya. Soalnya ini saya numpang ini di Guntara ini. Buat naruh ini takutnya nanti datang lagi malah nggak bisa diambil barang-barang saya. Mau tidur di mana saya? Masa saya mau tidur di sana di Bali Desa terus? Lah nanti kalau barang-barang saya nggak bisa diambil, saya nol lagi.
At the Mount Semeru observation post, Chief Umar Rosidi Sabah informs that the volcano is still active, with hot ash clouds shooting as high as 1,000 meters.
Jadi aktivitas vulkanik Gunung Semeru pasca kejadian awan panas guguran kemarin, pagi hingga sore kemarin, yang sejauh lebih kurang 13 km, itu masih cukup tinggi, itu ditandai dengan masih terjadinya 29 kali erupsi dengan tinggi asap berkisar antara 500 sampai 700 meter. Terus masih terjadi juga awan panas guguran sejauh 1000 meter. Jadi itu menandakan bahwa aktivitas vulkanik masih cukup tinggi.
Now, what's in store for those vying for the coveted title of Getaran Jiwa? Don't forget to catch the next episode of TVS new reality program Getaran Jiwa every Friday, beginning with the Debaran Jiwa capsule at 7:30 p.m, followed by Getaran Jiwa live concert at 8:45 p.m. The public is also invited to watch the concert at MBKS Stadium, Bintawa. For more information, follow Getaran Jiwa official Facebook page and Instagram. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news update both locally and internationally. More headlines anytime at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media. And that is all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Shira Abang Mansur. Thank you for watching. Good night.